If age gap romance makes you feel uncomfortable, then this video is for you. But before we get into the good stuff, we need to discuss something that nobody can ever agree on. What even counts as an age gap? I have heard some people say that 3 years is an age gap, and I just say that's just dating in your 20s. So let's set some ground rules initially. If one character is still in their 20s, at least 7 years. If both characters have reached their 30s, then 10 years. And that's just because life feels so different that age, it does become just a number the older you get, because you're seeming to get closer and closer in age, even the further apart the age is. But here's the thing, it's not just about the age, is it? There has to be an air of power that our older character has over the younger one. Are they their boss? Are they the professor at college? Are they simply just a rich billionaire who can fly you to Paris for a night on the town? Which leads me to where age gap romance can either become the best thing you've ever read or the worst. It comes down to 3 very important dynamics. If you miss one, then the entire thing collapses. First, let's talk about that power imbalance. Like I said before, we need the older one to have more than just age over the younger one, something they can leverage. This is often why age gap romance tends to lean more dark romance. For example, let's say the older character is the younger character's boss, like in The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. You have a 30-year-old Rowan and a 23-year-old Zara, and Rowan is Zara's boss. He holds so much power over her. He can decide whether or not she even works at this company. He has control over her life and livelihood. Or The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey, which is full-on romantic comedy. You have a marine biology student who moves into a nearly retired hockey player's house to serve as his nanny. Praise by Sarah Kate is one of the most popular books for a reason. It's a billionaire romance where a 40-year-old dominant businessman hires a 21-year-old artist to work at his club, who also happens to be his son's ex-girlfriend. The point of these books is that the gap matters. There is a huge difference in age, experience, and maturity. Our older, more powerful love interest opens our younger one up to a whole new world and experience. While that can happen when the characters are roughly about the same age, there's something delicious about it being an older individual teaching the younger one something new. Which leads me to the second dynamic, the maturity gap. The best age gap romances make you feel the difference. The older character has walls, experience, a life already built. The younger one is still becoming who they are. If they read the same age, then what's the point? Which leads us to the third and possibly most important dynamic aside from age. The best age gap romances always have some kind of outside pressure trying to keep the couple apart. A concerned family member, a social group that would judge or look down upon the older love interest for engaging with the younger one. A board of executives who would jump at the chance to oust the CEO because of greed. It often serves as an incredible B story while the romance grows and evolves. It isolates the couple, driving them closer together instead of tearing them apart. Even though these romances absolutely do come with a third act breakup, it doesn't last long. If an age gap romance has zero conflict about the gap itself, then it's not an age gap romance. It's just a romance between two people of different ages. Okay, so we know what makes it work, but why does it work so well on us? Like, why does our brain light up like Christmas trees when we have our older character caring for our younger one? There is something deep inside of all of us about wanting to be chosen, especially when they're rich and powerful and they could have literally anyone on earth, but they choose you or the other main character. It's a fantasy that no one can deny. The fantasy that someone will protect us and care for us and love us. If you read or write age gap romance, it is very likely that you have this fantasy deep down inside of you. You want to live vicariously through the younger character as the older character calls her a good girl, or your equivalent gender terminology. As discussed earlier, there is this wall that the older protagonist puts up, something the younger protagonist has to break through and make come crumbling down. And that's just so satisfying. You start with this character who is cold with a hard exterior, and you end with someone willing to show some vulnerability. There's also this forbidden dynamic that I think plays a huge role, which is why a lot of these tend to focus on boss and employee or teacher and student. It's like a teenager left with a locked liquor cabinet when they find the key. I'm not supposed to have this, but now all I want is this. And that's exactly why this trope is so complicated, because the things that make it delicious also can make it harmful if handled incorrectly. Here's where I need you to stay with me, because a lot of videos tend to skirt over this, or they talk about it and they go down a shame spiral, which I'm not going to do either of those two things. Age gap romance has some serious concerns that come into play, and we do need to discuss them, especially in the world we live in today, where women especially are being treated like objects and incubators again by the men that run it. If the age gap is too great or the younger character is too young, you start to flirt or dive headfirst into grooming territory. Jeanette McCurdy's book, Half His Age, does a great job at showcasing this as something visceral and gross. This book is not meant to be titillating. It's meant to make you squirm, to make you feel like you need to take a shower after reading it, to make you want to grab Waldo by the hand and protect her. However, there are so many and too many books that do try to make it titillating, cute, romantic, which it's not. There's also this misogynistic characterization of women that can happen in these books, where the woman is completely naive, too naive. She may as well be a minor because she knows nothing about life. It's like she was born yesterday or something. She lacks agency and gives all of the power to the older character. Now, you might say, Britt, this is fiction, it's fantasy, and while that's true, it can also be harmful. As an extreme example, should I have been reading romance books when I was 14? No, but I was. I got my hands on some books and I read them. My parents had no idea, so it's not like they could help guide the discussion about what I was reading. It made me believe things about sex that weren't true because it was my first experience with anything sexual, and it shouldn't have been. Now, as a thought experiment, think about a young person getting their hands on a book like that, where you have a woman character who knows nothing about the world, and she has no agency in the relationship, giving all of her power to a man who uses manipulation techniques to seduce her. Now, obviously, we should not be writing spicy romance with the idea that children are going to read them, because they shouldn't. It's not for children at all. But the same goes for an 18-year-old who just moved to college and got freedom for the first time, maybe grew up in purity culture, knows nothing about the world of sex, totally legal, totally able, and totally still impressionable. Now, does that mean that these books should not exist? No, not at all. We just need to make sure that the book is aware that there are problematic elements to it, and not pretend that it's just this cute thing. I mean, there is a reason why age gap romance tends to land in the dark romance section of the bookstore. So, which age gap romance books should you read? Well, I've already mentioned the best ones in this video already, but just in case you missed them, I've got your back. If you want a boss and an employee that have actual chemistry, The Fine Print by Lauren Asher is fantastic. If you love sports romance and want to see a near-retired hockey player end up with the nanny, then The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey might be for you. If you're wanting a billionaire dumb energy kind of book that knows exactly what it is, Praise by Sarah Kate. And if you want to see how uncomfortable grooming truly is, then Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy is honestly an incredible book. So should you feel bad for loving age gap romance? No, of course not. But you knew I was going to say that. Because the real answer is love what you love, but keep your eyes open. Age gap romance can be hot and titillating for one and problematic for another. As long as books are marketed properly, then the right readers will find their perfect book. And absolutely give yourself permission to love it and love it out loud. But also keep a critical eye on any new books you read and ask yourself, is this helpful or does this harm women? The ones that are great are extremely self-aware. They know that the CEO shouldn't seduce their assistant, but they do anyway because that's their person. The college professor knows that sleeping with their student is absolutely a no-no, but they can't help themselves because they are the perfect match. The best ones show that hesitation. The moment the older character says, I can't, but does anyway. And that's why we love and hate this trope. It honestly is probably one of the most divisive tropes in romance literature. So now I want to hear from you. As always, what are your favorite age gap romance books, and what's your favorite age gap romance hot take? Let me know those in the comments below. I'm Britt Hallis, a contemporary romance author who loves everything romance, and this has been another romance trope decoded. I'll see you next Thursday.